Mom and Dad, I'm doing fine. You guys are on my mind. You asked me what I wanted to be, and now I think the answer is plain to see. I wanna be famous. I wanna live close to the sun. Oh, pack your bags, cause I've already won. Everything to prove, nothing in my way. I'll get there one day. Cause I wanna be famous. Na 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 na. I wanna be famous. I wanna be famous.
Welcome to the animation block. Hey guys, it is Ryder here. We're back with another animation block. This is episode 25. We've got a fun one today. So hey, it's April, big month. Not really, but I guess this April is a big month for animation. Lots of things have been going on in these past 5 days, believe it or not. So many crazy things. And they all, I would have to say, stem from Rick and Morty. Two very, 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 very nice gentlemen. Just kidding. But I love them. I think everyone does, and it's been quite a while since we have seen anything new from this. They've been teasing this out, and we got our first April Fool's joke, which was pretty big, and that is Rick and Morty Season 3, Episode 1. So that's going to be a big portion of what we're talking about today. But wait, there's more. There is more, because while I've been gone, while I haven't been doing my weekly animation blocks for this half of the season of Animation Block Season 2, there was a pretty big show that dropped, and that would be Samurai Jack. And Samurai Jack, this is going to be our more topic, I guess kind of more in-depth, third dimension type of topic. The last one that we always talk about, kind of more in-depth, a more serious topic towards the end. So that's going to be our big one at the end. But wait, there is more! And I wanted to save this one for last, to introduce for last, because I think this could very well be maybe the rebirth, if you will, for the Cartoon Network. And this is because Cartoon Network has had they've had some things going on with the network in the past, I'd say 5-ish years. Definite decline, and I think this is, I've talked about this multiple times within the animation block, but I've thought that, and I think it's very visible that Cartoon Network has somewhat been the start of the decline of children's cartoons in total and in completion, and that has kind of, translated, like I said, to Nickelodeon and to Disney XD and the Disney Channel, and really, there are very, very few good, I guess, quotes around this children's cartoons, and it seems like maybe Cartoon Network is kind of getting the memo, and they are canceling some of their shows that are not working, and they're going to start some brand new shows that could very well work, which I don't know if they will, but I've heard about these pilots. Well, we'll talk about all this in a little bit, but I say right now, let's start with some Rick and Morty. So let's go through this story, okay? It starts way back around December of 2015, quite some time ago. This is about 2-ish months after the Season 2 finale of Rick and Morty. And this is where people start asking, when's Season 3 coming? This is where people start not just asking, begging for answers because of the way Season 2 left us off. Now, there will be some minor spoilers, but I don't want to give too much away, because I'm assuming most people who are watching this right now, I know it's kind of a weird assumption, but I'm assuming a lot of the people who are watching this podcast right now are not very familiar with Rick and Morty, and you very well should be, because it is probably the best cartoon out right now, or if not the best, it's one of them, and you have to be watching it. So that's why we're not going to go too in depth with spoilers, but minor spoilers here. It won't give too much away, but we have to say this, okay? So Rick, he's basically by a specific group of aliens. He is, or they're not really aliens. Again, I don't want to give too many spoilers away. Whatever. He is taken in, and he's kind of just locked away in a quote prison. It's not really a prison, but it is a prison. and it's because of things that he does, and it has to do with kind of a version of the multiverse, but it's very much Rick and Morty's own thing. So that's kind of, I guess, the least spoilerish way for me to kind of describe Season 2's finale, but it started an outrage because it was that good, and people were like, hey man, hey Dan Harmon, Justin Roiland, we want more, and they're like, guys, relax, it's gonna be coming out soon, we hope. Probably 2016. Yeah, 2016. And then every few months, this little sporadic thing happened where they're like, yeah, 2016. And then, like, out of the blue, about a year ago, they're like, guys, it's coming next fall. And everyone went crazy because at that point, everyone's like, holy shit, it's been a year, but we're ready. We get it. We're there. And then around late summer, they're like, no, it's back to we're undefined date. We're not sure when it's coming out. Okay. So this is Season 3. This is how it's been going, right? And this has continued. And then around November-ish, they have said that they're going to decrease the episode order, and that it might not even now come out until 2018. Then they come out in January and say, just kidding about that episode order thing, it's still going to be about the same, and then they decide to increase the episode order. Then they tell us, okay, it's going to be coming, maybe, super hopefully, by summer 2017. And then we hear around, I'd say, January, that it's going to be fall 2017. And everyone, at this point, it's like, it was just absolutely outrageous. And it was a very touchy subject as well. Like, it's not like you could just go up to a Rick and Morty fan and, like, make that joke, okay? And especially on April Fools, if they were to come here and they were to be like, April Fools, guys, or they would say, hey, it's coming, like, next week, and then say April Fools, you would see the community for Rick and Morty just blow. Right? An eruption would happen. So, of course, in the style of Rick and Morty, they decide to drop some teasers, and they drop some little clips, and they're like, yeah, it's going to actually be coming in 2017 summer. Everyone kind of thought this was an April Fool's joke, and then just out of nowhere, somehow, for some reason, they decided to stream the first episode of Season 3 for, like, a continuous 10-ish hours, and then take it off their thing, and that was their April Fool's joke. So, it's really outrageous completely. It fully suits Rick and Morty. If you know the show, again, we're assuming that you guys aren't as familiar with it, but this episode, probably the best one. It's caused a lot of riots, I'd say, around McDonald's, which is always a good thing because why not, right? McDonald's, get some publicity in there. Szechuans, and that's all I want to say about that. But here's the thing, though. Just a side note, it's kind of like a side note for that Szechuan stuff, Szechuan sauce. Do expect it to actually come back to McDonald's. Like, legitimately, it probably will. McDonald's would love to do some sort of Happy Meal thing with Rick and Morty, except, I don't know, like a non-Happy Meal that maybe it's for teenagers. I don't know, but I do definitely see the Szechuan sauce coming back. So if you were looking for that, I'd say, good for you, right? And I'm going to be getting some Szechuans, in the Szechuan sauce when it is released to the public in 2018 or whatever for the new live-action Mulan. But nonetheless, this episode was really crazy. And it only makes you love Rick more. And I love Morty. It's Morty, right? But Rick, I think for a lot of people, he's just the best. He is probably one of the best characters to come to existence in like a modern age, along with somebody like Deadpool. And I would very much consider the two of them on a different level, a completely just outrageous level, but I think a level and to a point that will be honored for quite some time. He's a great creation. And what he's doing here, he's trying to break out of prison. This is what's going on in this episode. That's the gist of it. And then the family goes to go and break him out. So we're talking Summer, we're talking Morty, we've got Jerry in there, and they're all trying to basically get him out of there. We've got Nathan Fillion guest starring, so who doesn't love a good Nathan Fillion? Am I right? Everyone does. It was a trick question. So we've got all this in here. We've got these aliens, and we've got the ideas that comedy comes in threes, and we got to take a shit. And it's Justin Roiland, man, because the character of Rick, to me, it's obviously it's the writing, it's the personality, it's the design, but it is so much the voice, and I've just missed that. I've rewatched the episodes a couple times at this point, because they are very rewatchable. That is a really great thing about the show, but it's such a genuine thing, and I do love that. We do kind of see in this episode Morty somewhat, maybe doubting Rick once more, and we know this is actually a pretty big arc for Morty, especially with a specific character, Bird Person. And Bird's Person, he comes in here, and we all remember his fate. We've all know what happens to him, and if you guys have seen the episode Get Swifty from season 2, oh geez, such a good episode. I don't know, but if you have seen Get Swifty, you know that the whole idea of Bird Person and the relationship between Bird Person and Rick. And then we know the fate of Bird Person, right? And then we see what these group of aliens, which we're just going to call the group of aliens, because no, we're not spoiling anything here. It's a pretty big arc in season 2. And they come along and big spoiler here, resurrect him, and in a way, and it's kind of like a cyborgish type Bird Person, and it's craziness because, of course, one of the big arc of Get Swifty is like Morty fully not trusting Rick anymore, and Bird Person comes along, and he's like, Morty, look what he's done for me, look what he can do for you, look what he's gonna do for you, and then you kind of understand, like, this is gonna be an arc for Morty, possibly turning into Dark Morty. I don't really know at this point, but very, very great episode. The jokes are there, the laughs are there, this legion of Ricks, that's awesome, the origin story of Rick, what? But we don't know if that's the real origin, it could be like a fake origin. So here's the bottom line. There's 2 scenarios that you're in as the viewer of this video right now. The first of them being, you're confused as shit, okay? You're like, what? The things you've said make negative sense to me. And I'm going to give you a thumbs up to that, okay? Because that should only make you want to go watch this show. The second scenario is that you're like, this is pretty cool, and I'm glad that it's being acknowledged by a larger community, because, newsflash here, this episode alone has just drawn in a massive new cult following, which is really crazy, because this is just one episode, and it played over, I believe, Dragon Ball Super and Samurai Jack, and it outraged people. But guess what? It roped in those people as well. So it's a very interesting marketing strategy. But I do have to acknowledge that I think it was a very fantastic episode. And if you are not watching Rick and Morty, this is me telling you that it is probably one of the better shows you will see in this time. There's a lot of shows out there. A lot of them are good. Very few are exceptional. This is one of those that is exceptional. Do not miss the boat on this one. Enjoy it while it's here. We have no idea how long it's going to be before season 4. We don't even know how long season 3 is going to last. We don't know if they're going to go into a season 5. I mean, there's so many things, right? So just keep an open mind. I say go for that guy. So we're going to move into our second topic of the day, and that is Cartoon Network and its brand new series that are coming, and its returning series that are going to be staying through 2018. Now, it was CinemaCon the last past weekend, and I think there was another convention, WonderCon, as well. At one of these things, or something like that, Cartoon Network had a big press announcement, and they said that they would be bringing 13 shows to their network, which is actually very large for Cartoon Network, considering I think they only have about 7 or 8 primary shows right now, and that's like not including Justice League Action, which we're not totally sure where that's going. We're not totally sure where this Ben 10 thing's going, or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, I believe. Maybe not, I don't know, but they are getting 6 new series and 7 returning shows. So let's just start with the 7 returning shows first. So the first of these new returning series will be an Adventure Time new mini-series. Now, I don't believe this is going to be Adventure Time Islands, which I do believe is going on currently. It could be a brand new Adventure Time mini-series or the same one, I'm not really sure. But Adventure Time is in a way coming back. This is supposed to be through 2018. I can't necessarily confirm that right now. But another one that will be coming back is Steven Universe. Now, Steven Universe, this show, it was just randomly kind of just put on a spontaneous hiatus recently after a specific episode, and a lot of people were wondering if it was just going to get canceled. Thank God it isn't, because this is probably one of the gems, no pun intended, on Cartoon Network right now. Teen Titans Go will also be returning for a brand new season through 2018. However, I don't know if it's going to be any better than it is currently. Hopefully they're able to reinvent it in a way, but don't count on it. So, but whatever. I think at this point it's kind of like a stamp. I know it is extremely popular with children, but I don't know. I'm not totally sure why, but it is. Amazing World of Gumball. Now, this show we know it's in its final season, or they're writing and creating their final season now. The great thing about animation, though, is you can stretch animation over years. I think the prime example of this would be SpongeBob SquarePants. They have pre-made episodes in a way, episodes that they have written and came up with years ago that they're just airing now, and they air them in type of special ways on Nickelodeon. So they might do similar things through 2018 with Amazing World of Gumball. The Powerpuff Girls will also be returning for a brand new season. I'm not a big fan of this one either, but it's another stamp, I think, for Cartoon Network, and they want to keep it going. We Bare Bears, thank God. This is probably, this and Steven Universe, but maybe this even more, probably the best show on Cartoon Network. Just genuinely fantastic. It's so simple, such great characters. It is mature, and I love that it's mature, but it is so childlike as well. And this is a great show. If you're looking for a great cartoon, just maybe something to chill out to, this would be it. It is really it's fun, but it's simple. And finally, Mighty Magiswords, which I'm also a big fan of, which they have, I believe, finished off their season 1. And season 2 will be debuting this summer. I'm a very big fan of this show. It captures everything I love, and I think the humor is funny at times. I'm not a huge fan of the crazy faces, but this would definitely be another really good one to get into on Cartoon Network. There's a big mythology and a big fan base, but behind it with children and even, believe it or not, adults. So very cool things there. The new shows, we're going to start with OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. Now, I do believe this has already started on Cartoon Network, and this is based off the console game. I'm very happy that this show is like there. I don't know if I've loved what they've done with the animation, because I think the animation from the video game last year, the mobile game last year, was great, but this is what they've chosen, and it's fine. I'm fine with that. Ben 10 and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs will also be returning, apparently. From what I've seen of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, it's pretty good. Same thing with Ben 10, but Ben 10 and Justice League Action are their own, I'd say, separate things right now, because we are not getting any confirmation on Justice League Action as of now, but that very well could be because, well, they're not done airing the episodes yet, and also because they might have different plans. I'm not entirely sure. Stay posted for that. I'll keep you guys posted on that this summer. But the real big things, the new shows, are the first one starting with Apple and Onion, from the creators of The Amazing World of Gumball. Now, Apple and Onion, it was one of Cartoon Network's unaired pilots that they threw together, or the people behind Amazing World of Gumball threw together. Now, this is one of the more fan-favorite ones, basically about two best friends, and they go on adventures together. It's very much the plot of basically every cartoon show right now. For that reason, I'm not a big fan of the plot. The animation is definitely better for me than Amazing World of Gumball, and I do see potential in this. It seems very much that Cartoon Network has a lot of faith in that, and assuming that Amazing World of Gumball ends after 2018, I think they want something by the same creators, just based on how successful Amazing World of Gumball has been. Craig of the Creek is from the creative minds behind Steven Universe. Now, like I said, I'm a big fan of Steven Universe. Very big fan. It's got a very big fan base, and it has a lot of potential to be even bigger than it already is, and it is already huge. But of course, it cannot go on forever, and I definitely think that if Craig of the Creek is something that is interesting and fresh, like Steven Universe was, it might also be as big of a hit. Basically, though, it's about Craig, and he's got two best friends, and they go to camp, and there's tribes of children, and they rain over forests and dirt bike ramps, so it's interesting. kind of again about best friends, but I guess that's what kids really like. And lastly, Summer Camp Island, which is based on Cartoon Network shorts by Adventure Time people, and it's supposedly very good as well. Haven't seen much of that, but there you go. Those are your new shows apparently. Now, because I planned on doing this animation block last Saturday, and today is now Tuesday, some new information about a Mega Man TV series is also happening for sure on Cartoon Network, going straight to series. Now, this is actually going to be a primary topic of the next animation block, along with Invader Zim. I did not forget about that either, so we're going to save Invader Zim and Mega Man for next episode. Just stay tuned for that, but I did want to throw it in there just because, we're covering all the new Cartoon Network series right now. So there we go with that. And now we're going to move into our final topic of the night. Samurai Jack. This is going to be my brief review, but more so I want to talk about where I think this could actually take cartoons. And this all comes from Logan and Deadpool, and these more mature films, but they're more self-contained films. And you'll see exactly what I mean in just a little bit. So Samurai Jack. This is the continuation of the original show from 2004. It was a true gem of its time. I think maybe even a little bit ahead of its time, but it ended up getting canceled very abruptly when it should not have at all. This show basically picks up exactly where that one left off, but, sometime later. Jack's a little bit older, Aku's a little bit older. There's these things that the daughters of Aku, and, that's pretty much a big plot point of this as well. But really, this show, while it's about Jack getting back to the past and taking down Aku and getting back to his loved ones and, getting rid of his inner demons that are haunting him and stopping, you've got the Daughters of the Dragon, Ashi, and all of these people that they're in things that are tormenting him. This show is truly about just a man and going around and trying to get home. But it's so simple because he just goes and he sits by the water and the river and he goes and stands off in the distance. And this show isn't, I rave about Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is all over the place. This is so set on a specific point and just one point. And if you've had a tough day, if you've had a good day, maybe a sad day, whatever, you could sit down for this and just take it in. And then you walk out and you're like, wow, And I think the same reaction would come from something like Logan. Very much like Logan. I think these two are very, very interchangeable. Even Deadpool in a way, because Logan and Deadpool, they are two other big franchises. They're based on franchises. They're from franchises, but they are scaled down, more very, very self-contained, especially Logan. And they want to tell a story, a character-driven story, a story that is maybe more real and true. And when you think about a show called Samurai Jack, which is basically about ninjas time traveling, you don't really think like, hey, on a level, I guess I shouldn't say ninjas, samurais, obviously it's called Samurai Jack, samurais time traveling. On that level, it's like, okay, that's not realistic, but you watch this thing and you feel it. You feel the heart of it. Action's also fantastic in this thing. I love the action, the fighting. The Daughters of Aku are just amazing. We hear Grey Griffin in there, my favorite. I love Grey Griffin, so she's doing some fun things. We've got a new voice for Aku, which it doesn't bother me that much. I love just getting to see Aku back, and he's like bored of being like the big ruler. And Jack, again, just wants to get back to the past. We're seeing some new characters pop up, but also some returning faces, and just a more badass Jack, I think. And I think this show is obviously now on Adult Swim. It's a little bit more mature. This one definitely deserves to be more mature. And I think the show's always been destined to be at this level of maturity. And I think you could still enjoy it if you're, 10 or 11. Might be a little graphic at times, but at the same time, I think that it is so satisfying just to watch and sit back. And between this and Rick and Morty, and I think that is where Adult Swim is headed. But let's talk about why and how this is going to influence other networks to do the same thing, and even Cartoon Network in itself. You guys remember how I just mentioned like that Mega Man TV show? Well, supposedly that's going to be very, very focused on Mega Man, and I'm kind of wondering and thinking that, hey, maybe this, reboot-ish type thing is going to be a big deal and a new big, thing for Cartoon Network because of the success of Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack's episodes are rated within, between 9.5 and 100 every single episode, or 9.5 and 10. Every single episode is rated between that. It's never even below 9.5. The show is critically acclaimed. I wouldn't be surprised if it won some awards within the next year, and I think that other shows, other networks will do the same thing, trying to recreate this. Now, it's no secret that cartoons have not been to the point that they once were, and I know that's weird because cartoons, they're cartoons. They're not some deep thing that needs to be interpreted. That's not why I do this. I'm not to interpret cartoons, but to think about why things have changed, and a big reason is just because millennials, everything has changed children-wise. 10 years ago is a completely different place than this year, this decade or whatever. Same thing would go for the 90s and the 80s, and everything changes by decade. It just does. That's how it works. And where it's going is, I don't know if it's a good place for cartoons, but you see Samurai Jack come back, and now we're getting the confirmation that Invader Zim is coming back, and they're going to be more graphic and focus in more, and it's like, this might be a new trend to make, and I think the same thing will go with movies, to take properties that were once something, completely spin it on its head, reinvent it, self-contain it, cut the episode order down, and just make something that you want to make. And I know this is animation, it's cartoons, it's not Power Rangers, and we're not going to talk here about Power Rangers, but I do want to say this about Power Rangers real quick. I'm a fan of that, and of course we know that Jason Grayson is a big fan of that. He runs the other half, or the most, I guess, 90% of the Big Bang Network. He's a very active member here, and he talks more about it, so you can check out his stuff for Power Ranger stuff. But I think it's very safe to agree that Power Ranger fans and community will agree that the show it's not to the point that maybe it once was. Even though I'm enjoying the current season, regardless, it could probably use a reinvention to maybe change things up, spin it on its head, take a darker approach. The new movie kind of did that for it, and I do think you will see this, and I kind of like that. Because it's like these things that you grew up with may be more maturing now. And if things are going to go in a more mature direction, I'd rather that than them kind of get more kiddie, more pointless. And even those episodes of Steven Universe that are good, that are they're filler episodes, they're good filler episodes, they're still filler episodes. And wouldn't it be nice if Rebecca Sugar could tell a story about Steven Universe with all those lessons and those great events and all these things that take place in the filler episodes? What if she could tell that story and expand and go a little bit more mature and not be afraid to go a little more gruesome or a little more sexual? It's like all of those things that should be allowed aren't because of new standards. I think a very primary example, I'll have to bring it up once more, guys, I have to reiterate, would be through Total Drama. Now, Total Drama, probably one of my favorite animated shows of all time. And that show debuted about 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, they were doing things that were probably today would be considered inappropriate, like using the word crap on television, animated crap. Just CRAP. It's nothing much, but crap. That is frowned upon now. They did a full episode where Heather's top came off, and they just blurred it out. But they had to actually animate it in a children's cartoon, a woman's bare chest, right? And then they had to bleep it out. But they literally bleep it out, okay? Like, you can tell that they have actually drawn it. The point is, that would be frowned upon today, and that would probably, like, allow for that TV show to just be taken off the air or canceled, or you'd have some parent uprising or some feminist uprising, whatever, okay? The point is, that's frowned upon now. And with things like Samurai Jack, with things like maybe this Mega Man TV show, and maybe this new Invader Zim show, or whatever they decide to bring back next, maybe that all changes. Maybe you do take things to a new platform like Adult Swim or Netflix or Hulu or some new Disney streaming service that we know will probably be coming out within the next year or so. Maybe Nickelodeon does something where they put all these Invader Zim or things that are maybe more mature on Teen Nick. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe Disney XD gets a little bit more mature. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Milo Murphy's Law, which is kind of sad, but maybe it's because people are tired of that formula. Maybe people are starting to become tired of that formula of the goofiness and the silliness, and while it's fun, great example, another one I'll add in is Mighty Magiswords. It's fun, it's goofy, but let me tell you something. Kyle A. Carosa, who's the creator of the show and one of the stars of the show, had a very different vision, and he envisioned this to be a more Adult Swim type of TV series, but Adult Swim wouldn't pick it up, so he kiddied it up a little bit, right? He made it more kid-friendly. Cartoon Network's like, oh yeah, sure. And the bottom line is, imagine if Mighty Magiswords would have gone to Adult Swim. It could have been, I seriously believe it could have been a big hit on, Adult Swim, just due to what the circumstances are and the character design and everything. It very well could have stood on those feet, but yet no one would let it, and that's not fair. So I really think that this could be a new age, and I hope so. More self-contained, more on the edge, but still kind of at the core of what the show is always meant to be. Samurai Jack is phenomenal, and I'd be more than happy to do more topics for Samurai Jack in the future, especially Rick and Morty, Samurai Jack. I'm going to try to do more of that, because I think that while the Cartoon Network could be entering a new age, I'm still a little bit tired of that stuff, and I think we're ready for a little bit of a change. So we're going to be moving into episode 26 of the Animation Block next time, and we're going to do episode 27 after that, and then we'll have our season finale in episode 28. We'll go on a little bit of a hiatus, and then we're going to come back weekly this summer in season 3 of the Animation Block. So lots of fun things coming. Make sure you are subscribed to the Big Bang Network to get all the Animation Block podcasts, all the Super Rangers podcasts, and any other kind of craziness that we decide to throw out there. Thank you so much for watching this Animation Block. Please let me know your thoughts. Please, please, please make sure to like this one if you had a good time. And if not, always we're here for feedback. And this has been the Animation Block.